Change. Change requires vision, belief, drive, passion, and consistency. How badly do you want to change? Whatever you did yesterday got you to today. It's no guarantee that it's going to get you to tomorrow. Change. Believe in yourself. Create change. Thanks for watching Hook, Line, and Shifter. I'm your host, Bob McCarty. If you like the channel, please subscribe and share. It means a lot to me. This episode, much like all my episodes, brought to you by my fine sponsors. First and foremost, we have Orkest. Orkest is the leader in worldwide connectivity. Orkest.net for all your connectivity needs. ESI grips. I've been on these grips and using these things for years. Multiple colors, multiple thicknesses, no numb hands, completely comfortable, and they make your ride look really good. ESI.com for your grips and your cycling needs. Discount code HLS2025. Use it, please. Support the channel. HLS2025. You get 20% off site-wide. And finally, U Cycling. Why you cycling? Another discount code, HLS2025. HLS2025. U Cycling is the clothing that myself and my team wears. Check it out. U Cycling, YUU, cycling.com. Use that code HLS2025. And MASH Mobile Vet. MASH Mobile Vet. You know how stressful it is going to the vet? Packing your animal up in their carrier. Stressful for them, stressful for you. MASH Mobile Vet has your solution. They'll come directly, they'll bring a mobile hospital directly to your front door. In some cases, they'll come inside the house and take care of your veterinarian needs. So, mashmobilevet.com. Check them out. Check out that young lady that's on there too, Dr. Tenzer and Amy. Amazing, amazing people. Today's episode, it's going to be all about the Florida Endurance Series. We just wrapped it up last weekend in, where were we? Brooksville in Croom. Sandy as hell, but I'll give you some details as far as what happened. So we're going to talk a little bit about the FLE, the Florida Endurance Series for 2025. Going to get into another segment called Single Track Secrets. I'll splice in a video, talk about a small section. The section I'm going to talk about is actually from the 12 hours of Santos. We've got some questions from the fans. Got a couple questions that came in this week. I will answer those. What's in your water bottle? Woulda racing. Love that segment. Woulda racing. I woulda done a lot better if. So, let's start. Back in January, Gone Riding puts on an event. It's called the Florida Endurance Series, the FLE Series. For 2025, it was a 7-round series. We went from Lakeland to Orlando, Santos, Hialeah, Ocala, Alachua, and then we wrapped up the season in Brooksville. 7-round series, 2 different categories. They have the shorter length and the longer length. Generally, every race is around 2 hours or 4 hours, 30 miles or roughly 60 miles, depending upon the conditions. To get one of these fancy number 1 plates, you got to compete in the long category. Last year, 2024, with 2 rounds to go, 5 rounds in, I was leading the series, 2 rounds to go, suffered a practice crash in my local park here at Markham Park. Separated my shoulder, grade 4 separation. Couldn't compete in the last 2. I was leading the series at that time. Unfortunately, couldn't continue on. Had to abandon the series and forego at my chances at that title. I've won it 3 times. 3 of those number 1 plates come from the FLE. Back in January, I went to Gilberto last year. Amazing athlete. Had a strong year. He got the number 1 plate for this year. Back in Lakeland, starting off the series, I was determined. I knew that I wanted to do my best to try and get that number 1 plate back in my hands. One of the things that I'm pretty good at is chasing series, is understanding what it takes to compete in an entire series. You have to perform. No question about it. You have to perform, but you don't have to win. You don't have to win everything. You have to be consistent, or as they sometimes say, you have to be in it to win it. So 7 rounds, you get a drop. 1 round actually can be a drop. I don't choose to partake in the one drop. Yes, it's part of the scoring, but when I say I don't care to partake in it, I want to get every possible point that I can, and then they drop the lowest score. Sometimes when you can't make an event, you'll wind up that race will be a 0, and those points will get dropped. I'm trying to compete in all of them, and then whatever my lowest score is, that can get dropped. That just helps the odd. Maintaining your equipment, being well prepared with equipment every single week, and as always, you can't neglect the training and listening to your body. I'll dive into that a little bit more later in the episode. So we started the first round in Lakeland. I did not get the win in Lakeland. Actually got a 2nd place in Lakeland. Orlando, we went to Lake Mary round 2. I didn't get the win there. I think I actually got 3rd place there. 12 hours of Santos. There's a 6-hour category. Even though I raced the 12-hour, I had to compete in the 6-hour. I wound up getting the win in the 6-hour. Amelia Earhart Park, another 4-hour race. I got the win there. Ocala at the Hammerhead, didn't get the win there. I actually got 3rd. Alachua got another win, and then in Brooksville wound up getting a 3rd. All this added up to achieving my fourth FLE title. So I'm pretty happy about that. It takes a lot of dedication, a lot of time, and God knows a lot of training. So I'm pretty happy with that. What does it mean? January of next year, when we start to chase the FLE series again in 2026, I'll get to debut the number 1 plate for the entire series. And if I can stay healthy, in shape, and training, doing all the things I'm going to do, hopefully I can chase another series. Might run into a little bit of a snag next year because myself and in 2019 I did the Absa Cape Epic with my partner Randy. This year, this is 2019. We've talked about it for the last 6 years about going back in 2026. Proud to say that we are going back to do it again. So I might struggle a little bit with the FLE points, but we'll still chase them and do what we can. So chasing a series is something that's very, very challenging to do. You got to stay focused. You got to stay into it. You got to be in it to win it. And as one of my An athlete that I follow has retired. One of the things that they always used to say is championships are won on your worst days. On your worst day simply means you never give up. You gotta hope for the best, chase those points, and make it all pan out. So proud to say another in 2025, I got my 4th FLE title. Next section, or next segment that we'll get into, single track secrets. Is there really any secrets? I don't think so. It's taken me 30 years to develop my mindset about how I'm trying to read the trails. Secrets? I don't think so. I spent a lot of time in the dirt. You should too. So this segment, single track secrets, is my pre-ride, the first section of the pre-ride from the 12 hours of Santos, a small clip of the technical section that we had to dive into just off the start of the race. So hope you enjoy that clip. And here we go. This is the start of the 12 hours of Santos pre-ride day, just outside of my camp, heading out for the pre-ride on Saturday. It's just the first section. Gonna pick it apart. Coming through the start-finish chute. Once we pass through the start-finish chute, as you can see right there in the overhead is the electronic scoring. We head to the trailer and turn left out of there. All right. Once again, under the chute, left out of scoring. Heading around, this is the feed zone for most people. Off on the right there was the transition area for the team competition. All right, my camp's right off to the left side. And heading into that first section. So again, I'm just going to critique one or two parts of the first section just so you can see a little bit of how we read it. Right here is the first thing that I come to, routes. There's 3 types of routes that you need to be concerned with inside the trail. We call them parallel to the front wheel, perpendicular to the front wheel, and diagonal to the front wheel. Depending upon the conditions, the one that you're going to want to worry about the most is going to be diagonal to the front wheel, because diagonal to the front wheel simply means that the bike wants to slide, especially if the conditions are wet. Conditions today in practice was actually dry. So this route that you see right in front of it kind of looks like the letter V. My choice is to bump off the first route, right down the middle line, hop over that second route. Reason for that, it's actually a smoother line. If you have the skills to try and do it, the bike's going to wind up floating up and over. It takes a little bit of effort to try and make it happen, but well worth the effort. You could see the common line is to drift off to the right side. Once you're off to the right side, you run into the first route, you run into the second route, then you veer around to the left. You come in hot enough out of that corner, give a little bit of pressure down on the cranks, you could find the ability to hit the first route, hop over, and then clear the second route, and then get set up for the next turn. Okay, same thing going into that next right-hander. We got 1, 2, 3 routes. The furthest route, the last one, is the one that I'm mostly concerned with. There's an inside line or directly over the route with a small mound off in the distance. Again, this is just trying to help you read the trail. You don't always want to practice avoidance. That's the theme that you're going to hear from me again and again. Practice skills, not avoidance. Out of this turn, I'm going to go over that third route, about midway down the route, and then just beyond the route is a mound of dirt. I can use that to bank off of and help the bike take the turn. There you go, right over that. A couple more turns, another route up to a left-hander. All right, up and over this mound. Rolling down from here, we're going to go up and over this next mound. And then once you get up and over this next mound, we come to our first, not really obstacle, the first thing that you want to be concerned with, this wood bridge. In the 12 hours of Santos, during the nighttime laps, a little more concerning, but not that bad to try and do. All I'm going to do is focus down on the center of the wood. Don't look at where you don't want to go, only look at where you want to go. I want to put myself right in the middle of the bridge. Up and over the bridge, up to a right-hander. Another downhill up to the right. Then we get to the next section. We have a rock right in front of us. And you can see the right line, again, practicing avoidance, trying to avoid that rock rather than carrying your momentum, picking up the bike a little bit and going straight up and over the rock. So that's what I'm going to do. Drop down into a little ravine. Nice roller. Off to the left is the wood skinny. It's not as fast to ride the dirt, or it's faster to ride the dirt, so we're not going to do it. Heading around to the right side, and then we're going to make our way from here, kind of traversing back across the start-finish. Start-finish is just off there to the right side. Sweeping left-hand turn, another right-hand turn up and over the overpass, and getting into the next technical section. Again, this is just the beginning of the 12-hour race, 12 hours of Santos in the Vortex. Santos has 3 trail systems. This is in the Vortex side. All right, so we're coming up on some bridges, or not some bridges, I'm sorry, some berm turns. All right, so right in front of us, you can see that wood berm off in the distance. Biggest mistake people make is if conditions are dry, meaning the wood is dry, you get nervous when you're trying to ride wood berms. Best piece of advice I can give you, ride it as though it was dirt. What would you do in the event that it was dirt? You probably don't have a problem riding a berm that's dirt. We convert it over to wood. Nerves kick in, hesitation kick in. I'm going to drop onto this wood berm. I'm going to try and stay as low as I can. There's a couple of reasons why I'm going to try and stay as low as I can on the berm. Number one, it's the shortest distance around the berm. The higher you go, the longer the berm actually is. In this case, the wood berm is longer the higher you go. The margin of error, the bike wants to drift up. As the bike wants to drift up, the lower I am on the berm, the better chances I have to save anything that's going wrong. You go high on the berm, your margin of error starts to decrease because generally the bike wants to continue up the berm. So I'm going to run the lowest line that I possibly can. So that's where I'm headed when I drop in onto this one. We're going to try and stay as low as I can. Out of this, we're coming into another one. All right, off this right-hander, you can see this line. There's a line on the right side as well as on the left side. Your energy wants you to drift a little bit off to the left, yet you're going to fight the energy and try to bring the bike back to the right. You don't want to do it. Carry that energy around the outside. There's clearly a line that's further on the outside, a little bit of the dirt that's going to create a hook for you. You're going to use that to carry the momentum around, not have to check up on the brakes. Drop in and then roll right up and over the next mound. Up and over this mound, dropping down. Same thing, we got 2 lines off in the distance. The one on the right is going to send you way too far out to the right. We're actually going to stay to the left. Drop in from there, back up, another sweeping right-hand turn, another right-hand turn to a drop in. Going to drop down. From here, we're going to go over a small mound and then start setting ourselves up for the next wood berm. You can kind of see off there in the distance is the wood berm. I'm going to follow the exact same protocol, stay as low as I can, shortest distance around the berm, safest margin of error. So trying to stay as low as I possibly can. Staying low around the berm. Back up to the top, and then we're going to drop down to another section again. Last part that I'm going to talk a little bit about is the lines going through here. In the distance, we have a right-hander. Can't see beyond the right-hander. I know it's dropping off to the right. Going to head over to the right, drop down again, swing over this to the left. Now, right in front of us. Here's a perfect example of practicing your skills as opposed to practicing avoidance. I know that this is a right-hand turn. You can see that there's a line off on the left trying to push you out to the left side to go ahead and make that right-hand turn. I'm going to hold the inside line, not practice avoidance, practice my skills. I'm going to hold that inside line, hop up and over the rock to get myself set up to drop down for the left hand turn. Perfect. Right up and over, sweeping turn. And then at the end of this, we're going to take a left-hand turn and start heading up a climb. Just a small section of the vortex, trying to teach your brain how to read the trail. The smoothest line, the most common line, is not necessarily the one that you want to try and look for. Open your eyes to options, utilize your skill set, and practice mountain biking. Do not practice avoidance. On race day, avoidance could be the faster line, but if you can't get to it, you got to work your skills. Practice mountain biking, don't practice avoidance. All right, hope you enjoyed that clip. That was the start segment from the 12 hours of Santos pre-ride day. The race was actually on a Saturday, so that was the pre-ride day on Friday. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave something in the comments. If there's some other sections or something else that you want me to address, please leave that in the comments also. And you can always drop me an email, mtbcoachbob@gmail.com. mtbcoachbob@gmail.com. Because of the fine listeners and fans like you, I have a couple questions that got emailed to me. Each week, I'm going to take 3 questions and try to answer them as best I possibly can. So 3 questions that got emailed to me. Hey, Bob, how many hours a week do you train and what do you do? Man, that's a bit of a loaded question and not something that I could probably I probably don't have enough time to get into it, and it'd probably seem a little bit boring to you all. So, hey Bob, how many hours a week do you train and what do you do? I train, let me rephrase that. My Garmin runs for anywhere between 18 to 25 hours a week is my run time of my Garmin. The reason I say the run time of my Garmin is I do coach. I do skills coaching, McCarty Training, McCartyTraining.com if you're interested, based out of South Florida. And the clients that I work with, I use the same Garmin, so I'm going to have Garmin running time with them. So every week, a couple of my hours are spent with those clients, acquiring time. Intensity isn't necessarily there, it's time. If I had to gauge what I actually do based on time and effort, I'm probably putting in somewhere between 12 to maybe 14 hours of my own personal workouts. I use Training Peaks. I'm a big fan of TSS. So there's 4 things that I generally monitor: the number of hours that I ride, the number of miles that I ride, the TSS that I acquire, and then the elevation gain that I'm trying to seek out. Where did all that come from? All that came from a year's projection. What I'm looking for is to continue to do what I'm doing, race as much as I race, and luckily I have about 11 years worth of data. So I know the numbers that I need to produce every year. So at the end of every year, I take the year back in, I look at what I did, I decide if I want to do better, the same, or maybe I can back off a little bit. Then I go down and I project that information. I project all of those numbers into a 52 week, knowing that I'm going to have a bunch of weeks off, relatively speaking, a bunch of weeks off. And then that gives me my focus for how much I want to do each week to essentially hit my weekly goals. And then also have my categorization of races, A, B, and C level. A being I will be completely prepared for. B being I'll go into it with some fatigue and I'm okay with it. C being no matter what the fatigue is in my legs, I'd be perfectly fine, and there's zero taper to try and get ready for it. So number of hours I do somewhere between 18 to 24 hours a week. Mileage, you're looking on a bad week 250, on a good week somewhere around 400. TSS points, for those of you that don't understand it, it's just a training stress score. It essentially measures, you get points for the amount of effort that you put in. TSS for myself, I consider a bad week somewhere around 800. I would call that a low week for myself. And then a good week somewhere between 11 to 1300. I don't sustain those for back to back, so I would be building my way into those, and then trying to stay focused in on that A, B, or C level event. And then the final thing is elevation. I really enjoy climbing. My goal is somewhere around 500,000. I'm based out of Fort Lauderdale, so we actually have no climbing. I get a lot of it on through a park here that has some elevation to it, and then on my trainer. So my trainer obviously is virtual, but it still kicks my ass. So footage, I'm looking for somewhere around 10,000 a feet. That'll give me that 500,000 to 600,000 that I'm seeking out every year. So again, I hope that helps you out with that one. Next question, and this one actually comes up a lot. They said, "Hey Bob, how do I land my first sponsorship? Should it be a bike shop?" Being that I have been in the sport for as long as I have, I'll tell you, this is a question that comes up all the time, and I get approached quite a bit from people that'll say, "Hey, I've got this opportunity to ride for blah, blah, blah." The number one thing that I think you have to remember, your entire career, you have to remember this. I don't care who tells you otherwise, it is a business. Nobody's sponsoring you. I shouldn't say that, maybe they are, but it's highly unlikely that somebody's sponsoring you because they like you. There's an ROI, return on investment. Most people make the mistake and they go over to the local shop and they say, "Oh, I won the race this weekend. What can you do for me?" That's not the right way to go about it. The way I view it is you want to try and build a brand. You want to try to build your own brand, your own image, your own name. And for 90 minutes, I'm perfect person for this. What I do for 90 minutes on Sunday is a small part when you're seeking out a sponsorship. Just because you win races doesn't mean anybody has to do anything for you. My question is always the same. What are you doing the other 20, 25, 30 hours of the week? How are you perceived in the cycling community? Do you volunteer at your local park? Did you actually put your time in promoting a local shop, utilizing a local shop, seeing what you can do for them to help them grow their business before you ask, what can you do for me? It means a lot to a shop. As I've owned multiple teams over my career, I've been very fortunate to be part of a bunch of teams and owning my own. I will take every day of the week, I will take the guy that's not winning, but has a great attitude, is loved in the cycling community, works his ass off to try and be better, contributes to the local parks, contributes to the racing, to the local racing. I will take that person over the asshole that thinks because they're winning races, they deserve to get something. You don't deserve to get anything. Work hard, believe in yourself, sell what you can do for somebody else, not reach your hand out and ask what they can do for you just because you're winning some races. Last question. What kind of bike do you recommend for cross-country racing? This is actually a great question. So I use a Scott Spark RC, 120 millimeters of travel in the front, 120 in the rear. Bike weighs approximately 23 pounds. My opinion, based on today's technology, if you can get a bike that's 120 millimeters of travel, front and rear, you can get a bike that hovers around that 23 pounds, 22, 23, mid 23. Based on the technology of being able to lock out the suspension, hydraulic brakes, dropper seat posts, SRAM transmission, 12 speed gearing, power meters. There's so many good parts that exist. My recommendation is stick somewhere around the 120 millimeters of travel. 100, sure, it might work, but if it's 100 millimeters of travel and you should happen to need 120, what's the point? Oh, Bob, I'll tell you the point. This bike only weighs 21.7 pounds and your bike weighs 22.75 or 23. Listen, man, do a little bit of self-evaluation. You're probably going to find that you have on your person a couple extra pounds. By the way, it's $1,000 for every pound you want to shed off the bike. Evaluate yourself, and you'd probably find you can save a couple $1,000 if you look into your own body. My recommendation for cross-country bikes, somewhere around the 120 millimeters of travel front and rear, be able to lock the suspension to run it as a full rigid or an open bike. My Scott has the ability to do it. Beautiful bike, works amazing. So again, I hope you like this section. If you have any questions for me, please email them to mtbcoachbob@gmail.com, and I'll be more than happy to answer and address any questions that you have. All right. Next section. 2 to go. Two sections to go here. I'm gonna come back to the final one, the Woodda racing. I like closing with the Woodda racing. I love that one. Absolutely love that one. What's in your water bottle? Years ago, I was asked this every time I was fortunate to finish a race and had a pretty high placing. Bob, what's in your water bottle? What's the secret? What's in your bottle? There is no secret. None. I pedal a lot. I've been doing it for decades. I'm not complacent. I want to do better. I want to inspire people around me. So what's in my water bottle this week? Number one, hours upon hours of bike prep. I am very, very fortunate to have two bikes. I have a practice bike and a race bike. My race bike on race day is completely ready to go. Batteries are changed. Tire chemical is updated. A lot of times new tires are put on the bike. Spoke tension is checked. Drivetrain is checked. Suspension is checked. Everything about the bike is ready to go. And it's not only just checking your bike. There's more for you to try and understand the functionality of the bike. You drop it off to the bike shop and they say, yeah, it's ready to go. You kind of want to know you kind of want to have an idea of what's going on with the bike. Take some time, watch some YouTube videos, learn a bit about the bike. Spend the time to make sure the bike is ready to perform. I've raced a lot, nearing 600 races in my career, and knock on wood, I have very few, I think it's maybe 3 or 4, very few DNFs. DNF did not finish because of bike failure. I've had body failure because I've crashed, but bike failure, very few and far between for the DNF. Spend the time to make sure the bike is prepped. Number 2, since we were just in endurance season, I use Scratch Super Fuel. Scratch Super Fuel is a high carb mixture running in the water bottles. The third one, which I think is pretty important here, is I'm constantly monitoring my body and sleep, listening to what my body says. Now, there's a difference between listening to what your body is telling you and, oh man, I don't even know what the word to say here is. What's the proper thing to say? Listening to your body, as well as listening to when your brain is just being soft. A lot of times that brain is just being a little bit soft. So listening to your body and sleep. Sleep and sleep patterns is probably one of the most vital things behind trying to be a successful athlete, cyclist. I refer a lot of times to my clients that they don't have waking up problems. They have going to bed problems. Ask yourself, peel back that onion, ask yourself that honest question. Do you have a waking up problem or do you have a going to bed problem? If you go to bed somewhere around 8:30 or 9 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning to get out and train, it's not so bad. You're going to bed around 11:30, 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock, and you think you're going to get up in the morning and train, you're probably not going to. The issue then is, as the day goes on, because you didn't get up in the morning, as the day goes on, you say, I'm gonna train this afternoon. I can't wait to train this afternoon. 3 o'clock comes around and something happens that gets in the way. 3:30. Still in the way. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6. Oh man, now the day is just over. Tomorrow morning, I swear I'm gonna get up. You're not. Ask yourself, do you have a waking up problem or do you have a going to bed problem? You're probably going to find that you have a going to bed problem and not a waking up problem. Final segment. Woulda racing. Woulda racing. W-O-U-L-D-A. Woulda racing. I woulda done a lot better if. Again, I'm very fortunate that I hear a lot of conversations on the weekends. I hear a lot of conversations with regards to training. Some people say them directly to me. Sometimes I just look in awe and wonder where this is actually coming from. So this week for wood erasing, we're going to go from 3 all the way down to 1. 1 being, this is pretty funny. This is probably the best one that I have heard. So number 3, my chain fell off, Bob. 3 times. I don't know, man. My chain just keeps falling off. I would have done a lot better. Number 2, my boa of my shoe broke. My boa of my shoe broke. By the way, not both boas or not all 3, just one. And my shoe was really loose. I would have done a lot better. And here we go. The number 1 wood erase, that I got, and I got this one directly said to me. This actually wasn't a racing incident. This was actually a training comment. Bob, oh my God. Oh, I was kayaking yesterday and my arms are sore. That's why I couldn't hang. I was kayaking yesterday and my arms are sore and I couldn't hang. Wow. I love it. I love what I hear from people. Apparently, the way you get some of these accolades that I've gotten over my 30 years, the only reason I got those is because my chains never fall off. My shoes never break. And I don't get sore when I do other things than ride my bike. It's the only reason. It's the only reason. Do me a favor. Stop making excuses. Own the process. Own the results. Be respectful of your competition, of your fellow competitors. Because if you got beat because they're working harder than you, own it. Work harder than them. Put the time in. You chose a sport that unfortunately takes time, discipline, and a whole lot of effort and suffering. I hope you liked this episode. I'm your host, Bob McCarty. Thank you to my fine sponsors, Orchest, Orchest.net, the leader in connectivity worldwide. ESI grips, man, you can't go wrong with ESI grips. Absolutely love them. Please go onto their website, esigrips.com. Use the code HLS2025 for 20% off statewide. And UCycling, YUUcycling.com. It's a clothing that myself and my team are in. Once again, with them, check out their websites, UCycling, ESI grips, Orchest.net. Use the code HLS2025 for the discounts. 20% off statewide. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for watching Hook, Line, and Shifter. I'm your host, Bob McCarty. If you like the channel, please click the subscribe button down in the bottom. Like and share. Have an amazing week. Look forward to talking and seeing you all next week. Thanks for watching.